It's midnight in Paris. I'm Marco, and these are the main world news headlines from France 24. Biden releases his tax returns ahead of the presidential debate in the US. An early blow landed against Trump, who is already under pressure after the revelation of his enormous tax avoidance. Over the past 15 years in Cleveland for us, Keravan Gorgistani standing by at the debate venue. We'll be joining her live in a moment. Hello to you, Keravan. Armenia says Turkey has shot down one of its military jets. The situation in Nagorno-Karabakh becomes increasingly tense as there's a clear escalation of the conflict on the ground. Armenia and Azerbaijan both saying that any chance of peace talks now is remote. The global death toll from COVID-19 has risen past 1 million this Tuesday. It's a bleak milestone in a pandemic that has devastated the global economy, overloaded health systems, and changed the way we all live. And of course, it's not over yet. This is live from Paris. Thank you for being with us. 2.25 hours to go. The gloves are expected to come off pretty swiftly when Donald Trump and Joe Biden go toe-to-toe for the first US presidential debate. Biden has perhaps landed a pre-debate blow by releasing his tax returns. Trump, of course, has been hurt by the New York Times revelation that he paid no federal income tax in 10 of the past 15 years. In fact, when he won the election in 2016, he paid just $750 in federal income tax. Let's bring in our correspondent, Keravan Gorgistani, who's following all developments for us, of course, usually in Washington, but now in Cleveland, Ohio, where this debate is going to take place. Keravan, good evening to you. Great to see you. How is the debate preparation going over there in Cleveland?
Well, both Joe Biden and Donald Trump have now arrived at the venue that you can see behind me. The President of the United States was the first to arrive on site just a short while ago. He actually went inside the venue to do that walkthrough, that final walkthrough, to see how this stage is presented. And after that, he went to a nearby hotel where he is now staying with his closest advisors. The campaign says that he's not doing any last-minute preparations. He's been saying it for weeks that he doesn't really need to do the traditional preparation because he does that every day, especially with his press briefings, with what he calls the very aggressive press corps at the White House. Joe Biden arrived later. He also went inside the venue doing that traditional walkthrough, and he's also now waiting and preparing probably last-minute preps for Joe Biden, because he has said, and his campaign has said, that they've been really preparing for this debate very intensely. They've held some mock debates. They've gone over the facts, the figures, trying to be ready for all possibilities during this debate. A few hours to go now before that first face-off of this 2020 campaign, a very key presidential debate. Let's remind our viewers that in the latest polls, in the average, Joe Biden still leading by about 7 points nationally over Donald Trump. But maybe more importantly here in the U.S., because of the electoral system, Joe Biden is leading mostly in those key battleground states, and those could be the states that decide this election on November 3rd.
Indeed, Ohio being one such state. Keravan, great to see that you're there. Looking forward to hearing what you're saying later, and do enjoy the debate. It's bound to be lively, isn't it? So let's hope it all goes really well. Keravan, thank you very much indeed for giving us that context in what's happening where you are in Cleveland, Ohio. Biden and Trump facing off at 2:15 a.m. Paris time, roughly 2.25 hours away. And of course, we'll bring you full coverage here on France 24 with Keravan in Ohio, with our team here in the studio, of course, giving you all sides of the debate. Next, Armenia says that Turkey shot down one of its fighter jets, one of its warplanes, during heavy fighting with Turkey's ally Azerbaijan. But Ankara has fiercely denied that its jet was involved in this skirmish. Direct Turkish military action against Armenia would mark a major escalation after 3 days of heavy fighting, in which 100 lives apparently were lost between Armenian and Azerbaijani forces over the breakaway region of Nagorno-Karabakh. The two sides have defied calls for a ceasefire over Karabakh, which is an ethnic Armenian enclave that broke from Azerbaijan in the 1990s, and are both claiming to have inflicted heavy losses on opposing forces.
The artillery strikes continued throughout Monday night, and as day broke, smoke billowed over Azeri military positions. Azerbaijani officials released these videos showing the latest clashes in its bitter historical war with Armenia. A war with civilian casualties on both sides.
Ընտանիքի անդամներս մեկը զոհվել է 9 տարեկան աղջիկս։ Այս փոքր տղաս ծանր վիրավոր է։ Տիկինս ներքևի բալնիցում է, ինքն էլ է վիրավոր։
The disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh is officially part of Azerbaijan, but is controlled by ethnic Armenians, and the fighting appears to be spilling out of the region. The US, Russia and Germany have all pleaded for a ceasefire. But Turkey, a long-time ally of Azerbaijan, has said it is ready to help the country take back what it calls its occupied lands.
Bu sorunun çözümü basit. Tek bir çözüm var. Ermenistan işgal ettiği Azerbaycan topraklarından çekilecek. Bu çekilme olmadığı sürece bu sorun çözülmez.
It's also a propaganda war, with both sides inflating their military successes. Armenia has accused Turkey of shooting down an Armenian fighter jet, something that Turkey flatly denies. If true, it would mark a significant escalation of the conflict. The UN Security Council is holding closed-door emergency talks on Tuesday to try to seek a way out of the ongoing hostilities.
Well, just continuing from Catherine's report there, the two sides have actually met and been talking at the UN. The Security Council meeting is taking place. We see that the Azerbaijan representative speaking. We've heard from his Armenian counterpart. The UN Security Council is actually calling for an immediate halt to hostilities over Nagorno-Karabakh. Up to now, we were led to believe, at least this Tuesday, with up to 100 killed in 3 days of conflict between these two countries over this enclave. We were led to believe that any chance of a ceasefire was remote at this stage. But here we have a development at the UN, the Security Council meeting there, and we're hearing that both sides are expressing themselves, and of course we're watching for any developments on this one. That meeting at the UN is ongoing. We'll bring you the latest from it as it happens. Next, the global death toll from COVID-19 has risen past 1 million this Tuesday, a bleak milestone in a pandemic that has devastated the global economy, overloaded health systems, and changed the way we all live our lives, as well as marking permanently the lives of people who've lost loved ones. France has recorded over 8,000 new cases in the past 24 hours, and with that, 85 lives have been lost. The death toll in France from COVID-19 now stands at nearly 32,000. Elsewhere around the world, other countries are witnessing a sharp rise in cases, notably in India. But in China, where the outbreak began less than a year ago, the situation is almost back to pre-virus normality. Well, almost.
A sense of normality back on the streets of Wuhan, China. This 9 months after the first coronavirus death in early January. Since then, the virus has changed the way we live, strained healthcare systems, and battered the global economy. COVID-19 has claimed the lives of over 1 million people around the world. The countries with the largest death tolls include the United States, Brazil, and India. Mexico has the highest death rate in Latin America. And here in Europe, the UK, Italy, France, and Spain lost the most number of lives during the height of the pandemic.
Our world has reached an agonizing milestone: the loss of 1 million lives from the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a mind-numbing figure. Yet we must never lose sight of each and every individual life. They were fathers and mothers, wives and husbands, brothers and sisters, friends and colleagues. The pain has been multiplied by the savageness of this disease.
As the global coronavirus death toll crosses the grim 1 million mark, the number of infections are on the rise. Here in France, authorities have implemented measures to limit the spread of the virus. Bars and restaurants have temporarily closed in the city of Marseille, and in Paris, bars shut at 10 p.m., something residents say is absurd.
This is how bars are in general in Paris anyway. We find bars all close together, people are touching each other's backs and everything is like that, but then suddenly up at 10 p.m. everyone leaves. I don't think that is something that would help the situation right now in any way.
Within weeks, India is expected to overtake the United States with the largest number of coronavirus cases. Despite this, the government is unlikely to impose restrictions to limit the spread of COVID-19 after the lockdown back in March devastated the economy and pushed millions out of work.
And of course, we're watching all developments on the situation regarding the coronavirus pandemic for you. Next, a further 3 deaths in the wildfires in California. A state of emergency has been declared in the counties of Napa, Sonoma and Shasta. It brings the total killed in the fires to 29 since August.
This elementary school is still smouldering in the aftermath of the glass fire, the name given to the first of the wildfires raging across North California since Sunday night. Thousands of acres have gone up in flames across Napa, Sonoma and Shasta counties. Tens of thousands of residents have been forced to flee across the region. Some returned to assess the damage.
So surreal, and we had no idea the house was still there. So when we drove up and saw the house, we were kind of like, oh my God, this is a miracle. So then we walked up the street, none of the neighbors were left. The lady across the road here, gone. All these people's things were gone. It's emotionally exhausting.
Dozens of houses and other buildings have been destroyed. Several wineries have caught fire, and this hospital was forced to evacuate its patients to safety. Some residents chose to stay behind to try to save their homes.
I was up all night fighting, trying to save my house. Flames got everybody, pretty much. It was encircling us, and then, we lost a few structures, but I was able to save my house in the neighborhood that I'm in.
Wildfires have scorched 3.7 million acres of California since January, far more than any single year in state history. They've been stoked by extreme weather conditions that scientists attribute to climate change. More than 7,000 homes and other structures have burned across the state so far this year.
And the image is really telling the story of the situation there in California. For more news, do stay with us. You're watching France 24.